وكذلك أوحينا إليك روحا من أمرنا ما كنت تدري ما الكتاب ولا الإيمان ولكن جعلناه نورا نهدي به من نشاء من عبادنا وإنك لتهدي إلى صراط مستقيم صراط الله الذي له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ألا إلى الله تصير الأمور.
Abdullah, you mentioned the training of women in the chaplaincy program. And you know, even I'm guilty of that one. When we think about prisons, we only think about men in prisons. But also there are women in prison. Yes. So tell me a bit about the work that the female chaplains do in the women's prison.
Right. This is one of the major proof that the chaplaincy is not only imam business. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it will be all men business.
Yes, right.
And also, one thing I forgot to explain when I was talking about the chaplaincy. Chaplaincy also shows American society's understanding and accommodation of religious differences and religious rights. Mm-hmm. Basically, constitutionally in this country, if there is a certain number of people believing in one religion, mm-hmm. and they need religious leadership, they have religious and spiritual needs, those institutions have to accommodate this need by hiring Muslim chaplains for these individuals. Mm-hmm. This is a huge respect, and this is a beautiful part of American society. I'm not sure how many Muslim societies is as progressive as that. Mm-hmm. That something needs to be said. And these women working as a chaplain in the prison system on college campuses or hospitals, they are doing an amazing job. Mm-hmm. Again, most of these women are becoming Muslim in the prison system. Mm-hmm. They are not Muslims going into prison or doing some violent stuff and going into prison. Mm-hmm. They basically respond to their religious needs. They teach them Islam because mm-hmm. most of them are...
But let me ask you, I mean, we're talking about the dawah and people coming to Islam. Mm-hmm. I mean, when the people are coming to Islam, what is the process? Is it a long process? Is it that they were in the prison and they had a lot of time to study Islam mm-hmm. and they are just ready to accept Islam?
Well, it's very difficult to make any generalization that there is one way or there is one attraction or there is one process that people go through. Almost every individual go through a different process, different system. Mm-hmm. Majority of these people, they spend a lot of years in prison. They have a lot of time.
And also, they have a lot of choices. They can choose to become a Jew. Yes. They can choose to become a better Christian.
Yes.
But, well, I mean, you don't have the exact statistics, but we know a majority of the people in prison are becoming Muslim.
I think more than 95% of conversion is happening from different faith backgrounds to Islam. Mm-hmm. The major conversion. People find Islam attractive, and they find Islam responding to their religious, individual, personal, psychological needs. Mm-hmm. Islam's whole concept of personal relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mm-hmm. not needing anybody in between, mm-hmm. Having this clear relationship and communication with the Creator, mm-hmm. and Islam's the whole concept of forgiveness, mm-hmm. that God always there with His infinite and eternal mercy, compassion, that are ready to forgive you whatever you have done in the past. Mm-hmm. You have always a second chance mm-hmm. to open an open shield.
And I think that's something that anybody who's in prison really is looking for,
exactly.
a second chance.
Exactly. Because they don't get this forgiveness and mercy from their families, from their environment, from their government, from their society. Mm-hmm. They are not given any second chance to these. They are punished mm-hmm. for what they have done. And they are looking for an opportunity where they can get the second chance, where they can open a new chapter in their life. Mm-hmm. And Islam gives that.
Just tell us a bit about how the issues of Ramadan and Jummah and the daily salat is handled there for the prisoners, and what you're trying to do to make sure they get these rights.
Well, basically the whole service to these Muslim inmates goes around providing them Muslim halal food, weekly Friday prayers, mm-hmm. and the khalaqas and ta'leems, where these people, these new converts, learn the whole about how to practice Islam, how to learn the Islamic history, mm-hmm. how to get the basic knowledge mm-hmm. to practice this religion. Mm-hmm. Of course, women chaplains cannot lead Friday prayers. Mm-hmm. We have volunteer brothers mm-hmm. who are working professionals who live close by those facilities. Mm-hmm. And the women chaplains, they only organize and coordinate these mm-hmm. Jummah prayers mm-hmm. and the khutbahs, and the brother goes there as a volunteer and deliver the khutbah and they lead the prayer. Mm-hmm. But this is only teeny tiny minority. Mm-hmm. I mean, small part of what they do. In addition, organizing everybody to come to Juma services, and providing basic information, because every individual in their journey to Islam is in a different place. It requires a lot of one-to-one tutoring, a lot of one-to-one relationship and teaching, to give the good materials, good educational materials to these individuals. It's fascinating how these women and men sometimes convert to Islam, especially the women. Many of those brothers who convert Islam in the male prison, they have sisters, they have girlfriends, they have family members in the woman prison. So they write them letters. I just came to know about this beautiful religion, which brought peace to my heart and my mind. I invite you to my religion as well. They come to Islam and they have no clue. They have never seen a mosque. They have never been in a Muslim community before. They have never been, they have never practiced religion as a community. So a lot of work needs to be done in terms of accepting these people where they are and slowly walking with them in the spiritual journey by not intimidating them, by not judging them with what they have done or what they have been still doing, but slowly teaching them, educating them. Well, exactly what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ done for the first 13 years of his life in the Meccan period.
And let me ask you about the accommodation of the Muslims. Well, I want to come back. Let me come back to that one. How do they handle Ramadan in the prison systems?
It's a challenge. Unfortunately, it's a major challenge. Some states, they do much better job, and some states don't. For decades, unfortunately, it wasn't recognized right until the Muslim community pushed for it. So the Muslim inmates had to just fast without waking up for sahur, without doing anything. And without also, because of the iftar time is different every year, so if they missed the dinner time, they ended up just saving some food and crackers and just fasting with that. But alhamdulillah, by the grace of God and the Muslim community's efforts, in most states, we established the right of having an iftar during the iftar time and having a package of food so that they can bring it to their dorms and wake up and eat it for the sahur. But no consistent Taraweeh prayers. Because Ramadan is not an individual event, it's a collective social event. You want to experience and practice this holy month with your Muslim brothers and sisters. But in the prison system, it is very difficult to create that environment. It is very difficult to create that social, collective Muslim environment. But as much as they can do, what we have done in the Connecticut prison system here, we at least get twice a week Taraweeh prayer permission. So we go to the prison system and we lead Taraweeh prayer at least twice a week. Inshallah, this coming Ramadan, the negotiations are still going on with the administration. We want to make it at least 5 times a day. 5 times a week, I'm sorry. 5 times a week, we're going to lead the prayer. And all facilities, we do Eid prayers as well. Salatul Eid is all, it's been like 7 years, it's going on.
Alhamdulillah. And let me ask you about the availability of books and literature about Islam. Are people who are in the prison allowed to keep some books on Islam in their cell? And what about the prison library? I mean, how many books do they keep on Islam?
All these books of faith, all these libraries are provided by the Muslim community. Unfortunately, the Muslim inmates, the large number of conversion to Islam, came into Muslim community's attention much later in the United States. So we weren't necessarily very fast as other faith communities, or we weren't able to respond to these needs as the number of people becoming Muslims. We are getting there, but still there is a lot more needs to be done, because the prison system only accepts free publicity. They will not spend a lot of money, they will go and buy books. It is up to the Muslim community who collects the right books, what these people need. They are not going to be able to read all these tafasir in deep theological discussions. They basically need very introductory level literature and the publication first, and then, in different steps.
But how about the Muslim prisoner? Is he allowed to keep a Quran in his cell with him?
Yes. Now, yes.
Alhamdulillah. And alhamdulillah, it's very nice to hear that people are accepting Islam no matter where they are. But as you know, someone's been in that environment for a number of years. Eventually, he's going to come back out into society. And we know if he goes back with the people who got him there to prison in the first place, he's maybe going to wind up back in prison again. So are there some programs in place, like halfway house, to really put the Muslim maybe the first time with a Muslim community and give him really that second chance he's looking for?
Unfortunately, it is a very major problem. The prison system in the United States in general is not working to rehabilitate people and not successfully reintegrating them to the society. The return rate among the prisoners in general is 67%. So 67% of those inmates who finish their terms and goes back to where they came from, 67% of them comes back in 2 years. This rate is a lot lower. It's about in 30% Muslim inmates. We have two. I wish you could have a chance to visit our halfway houses. We have two of them here. The Muslim community is trying to welcome these people and put them into these halfway houses and rehabilitate them, sort of integrate them back to the society. But it's not working as efficient as we want to. Because of main reason, there is no unified, organized Muslim society. Many of these people are coming from one particular race and ethnicity, and other ethnic communities, especially the immigrant Muslim communities, are not well-trained, not equipped, not ready to accept these brothers and sisters as part of their community. They will welcome you with a smile, nobody will push you and reject you, but that's not enough. Right. These people need jobs, these people need homes, these people need to get married and form family, and there is not necessarily that deep accommodation there among the immigrant community. And African American Muslim community and their mosques are not necessarily have enormous amount of resources and the capability of responding to this need. It is not as good as we want to be, but yes, there is a lot of tremendous amount of effort to welcome these brothers and include them into society so that their journey to Islam will not be interrupted when they get out of the prison system. But to tell you the honest, the prison Muslim community is so tight.
Yeah, but what does it mean? Because, you know, I mean, being in prison, you're kind of in a dangerous environment. And when the people become Muslim, do they have like a greater sense of protection in the prison?
Oh, yes. The Muslim, once you are Muslim, you are well taken care of in the prison system. The Muslim community is so close and so tightly brotherly got together. They protect you, they teach you, they take care of you. They don't care what ethnicity you have, what is your skin color. If you are Muslim, that's enough for them. And they just have this wonderful environment. I have seen many former inmates. He said, I want to go back to prison. I just want to go back to prison because the Islam that I was practicing there was so pure, so wonderful. And also in the prison, you don't have to pay bills. You don't have to work. You don't have to look for this job. You are there to study Islam and enjoy. And just,
but inshallah, we hope our brothers don't go back to prison.
The majority of them don't, because 67% and the 30%, this is a significant difference. And American government and the prison system is paying a lot more.
And like you said before, I mean, if the Muslims who are not in prison, the Muslims in the community in general, would do a better job to try to account. And this is not just for prisoners, even people who are new to Islam. They need a bit of a support system to get going so they can stand on their own Islamic feet.
Funds need to be established. Money has to be, money is a major issue. Most of the masajids and mosques are struggling to stand on their own feet. They have their own inner problems. They have their own challenges that they're going through. So it is not easy for Muslim community to channel and divert all of its men and financial powers into this area. But with the grace of Allah, inshallah, there are some brothers who are dedicated, who are doing nothing but just helping these former inmates, making sure that their Islam will be even stronger, they will be productive citizens and efficient individuals outside of the prison.
Abdullah, we've talked a lot about Muslims in the prisons, but also there are Muslim chaplains in other agencies such as the fire department and the police department. So just tell us a bit, and alhamdulillah, it must be a good sign of the growth of Muslims in these organizations that they need to have a Muslim chaplain. So just tell us a bit about the training program that for people who are going to work in the military or for the police.
It's one of the, I think, as prison system, it's one of the most challenging work environment for Muslim chaplains as well. There's an increasing number of Muslim presence in the American military, in different branches, but mostly in the Navy. The largest number the largest number of Muslims are in the Navy.
Because that's amazing that you mentioned the Navy, because I thought it would have been in the Army or something else. But you find that people in the Navy who are out in ships and out at sea, I mean, they're not in prison, but it's something similar to prison in terms of time, in terms of lack of things to do. That's a...
In that harsh, very hectic, very demanding work environment, but Islam finds and touches these individuals. And a large number of them are already converted. And still, the number of conversion is still increasing in the American military.
So back at their base and back at their post now, are they establishing masjids there?
Yeah. It's their constitutional right. If there is a significant number of Muslims in one base, the American military has to hire a Muslim chaplain and respond to their religious needs and their spiritual needs. There has to be Friday prayers established. There has to be talims where Muslims get together and reflect on Quran and Sunnah and Islamic teachings, etc.
Right.
But it's a challenge. The U.S. military is ready to accommodate, but there are not many very well-trained Muslim chaplains who can fulfill and respond to this demand. There is more demand than we can supply, unfortunately, because U.S. military has very high standards, educational and academic qualifications required you to become a chaplain there. And to be honest, there are not many Muslim chaplains, unfortunately, available or ready to go and serve in that environment.
So you mean a Muslim chaplain, he has to actually be part of the service?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's not a civilian position?
No, not at all. Not at all. They're going to be employed by the different branches of military, and they're going to be service people. They go through the basic qualifications.
And how about in the police and the fire department? I mean, and I'm taking that this is a sign of the growth of Islam, because there must be a number of Muslims there in the police and fire department to justify having a Muslim chaplain.
Otherwise, there is no justification whatsoever. And it is not only conversion either. It is the massive immigration after 1965. There's a large number of 2/3 of Muslims in the United States are born outside of the United States. They came here as successful professionals, but now their children, they are multiplying, and their children who were born and raised, they are also becoming part of this increasing presence of Muslims in these institutions. For the first time, New York Police Department hired its first full-time Muslim chaplain, Brother Khalid Latif, who is also our student here at Harvard Seminary. And the New York Fire Department is looking for a Muslim chaplain. We are negotiating.
Now let me ask you, when you train a chaplain to work in the police department, do you emphasize some training based on teaching sensitivities to police officers when they're dealing with Muslims or entering the Muslim house or entering the mosque? Which can be a big fitna, for people.
Exactly. We are doing it for all of them. Our Harvard Seminary Islamic Chaplains program is part of the sensitivity training in the academy. We train in New York, in Connecticut, in Massachusetts. As part of their training, we go and we lecture 2 days about the whole business of Islam, and how to deal with Islamic issues, how to interact with Muslim communities, how to enter a Muslim house, how to respect certain things, gender relations, food, cultural issues, what time of the day, etc. And the whole stereotype, especially after September 11, about every Muslim is a potential suspect and potential violent person, we are trying to undo all these myths and stereotypes about Islam in the minds of police and the fire department people, and even FBI. We are training FBI here.
But when you have a course like this, like with the police or the FBI, I'm sure there's a period of questions and answers. And I'm sure that a lot of the misconceptions about Islam come up. And I mean, particularly like from police and FBI, what are some of the typical misconceptions you find that they have about Islam?
Well, what is appalling is their level of knowledge about Islam, which is almost minus, which is almost zero. About the authentic religion, about Islam as theology, Islam as culture, and Muslims, they almost have no clue, no idea. They've never heard of it. They've never met any Muslim. But what they know is all about negative, distorted slanders, which they receive from the public media, about violence, about terrorism, about September 11, about Osama bin Laden. Unfortunately, there has been a very expensive effort in this country to make people believe that 1.3 billion people are all terrorists. It is unthinkable. You wouldn't expect any rational people to believe this, but some people do. Some people, because their only source of information is Fox TV, CNN. They don't have any alternative sources.
Right.
Unfortunately, the most common stereotype and bias against Muslim is quick association of Islam and violence, Islam and terrorism, Islam and exclusion, Islam and extremism. When you say Islam to average redneck American, tell 10 first things comes to mind, I'm sure at least 9 of them will be something negative, something violent, anger, revengeful, somebody who hates West, who doesn't share any values. It's a foreign religion. And when we talk about all of these issues, they got shocked. That Islam shares a lot of ethical, moral, religious similarities with Christianity, with Judaism. We accept them as people of the book. We honor the previous prophets and revelations. They've never heard of it. We believe in the same God. We worship in the same God. A lot of these people, they had no clue. A lot of Americans think we believe in God and they believe in Allah. This is two separate deity. This is two separate things. It's not. unfortunately, the majority of Americans don't have also a very good international mind. They are not. It's not their blame. It's part of their upbringing. It's part of their educational system. They don't necessarily have a lot of exposure to a non-Christian, non-Protestant world. That also feeds that ignorance and the lack of knowledge about Islam. But quick encounter, an hour and a half lecture, 30-minute question and answer, when you exist as a breathing, warm-body Muslim and answer these questions, all these stereotypes, you can see from their eyes, it's melting down, it's disappearing. And people says, oh, maybe I should read more about this. Maybe I should not listen to Fox TV. Maybe I should just go and find a Muslim
maybe
friend.
some of the people who sat in those courses are the reasons why they need so many chaplains there.
Exactly.
But Brother Abdullah, I really thank you for spending some time with us. But as this program is entitled Muslims in America, I just want to know from you and your experiences as a Muslim here in America, what do you think is the forecast for the outlook for the future of Islam in America?
Even though it's going to be a very painful, very challenging, and very struggling process, and I'm sure along the way we will lose many souls, but the outcome will be, I'm so excited, I am so honored to witness that birth of a cultural Muslim identity. In 10 years, in 15 years from down the road, you will see American Muslims will be part and parcel of American society. Will be, we are already there. We are much richer than the average Americans. We are much more educated than average Americans. More than 50% of Muslims in the United States are college and more educated. You will see Muslim community dynamically educating larger non-Muslim community, non-Muslim American society, and getting the deserved position of themselves in the society. And it won't be surprised in 10, 15, 20 years. Because you can see September 11 even more motivated, more encouraged Muslims. All these war and terror tragedy and business is even more motivating Muslims, especially the young Muslims. They are getting deeper and more rooted in their faith tradition. They are growing up with a great commitment to their American and the Muslim identity at the same time. So 15 years from now, you will see Muslim senators, you will see Muslim judges, you will see, inshallah, even a Muslim president of the United States.
Okay, Abdullah, again, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
And we hope that our viewers was able to benefit from a little insight into what life is like for Muslims in America and the growth of Islam in the prisons and the military. And I hope you continue with me on my journey as I travel around America and introduce you to the Muslims in America. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.